We are on page 71. Mr. David Bound, you have a presentation?
Thank you, Mr. Tapp.
Thank you.
We'll stay there if you want.
Yeah, you can say that. It's fine.
I mean,
I,
appreciate that.
I still appreciate y'all's time.
And we appreciate you, sir.
And we'll see you at
Thank
the next county commission
right.
meeting, I'm sure.
We're going to get at least 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good.
And probably someplace else.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Tapp.
Our commissioner coming in front of you to request a budget adjustment to response to outside spending, outside approved spending limits. We have two bills. One's a special prosecutor in the criminal cases of the state against Trisha Jackson and the state against Jennifer Kraus in the amount of $289.44. That's due to the Grant County special prosecutor, his mileage. And our insurance claim to represent defendants Trisha Jackson and Jennifer Kraus during their removal proceedings of $43,000.54. So I would have a suggested motion. Would you like to hear it, or
Where would you suggest we pull those funds from?
we will, if we would approve the payment for those two invoices as presented, I would also ask a motion to approve the transfer of the $43,289.98 from the Cole severance. We currently have $148,000 there.
Okay. I do have a question for our council, or actually our council. Could you explain a little bit more detail under 667I and how this is entailed with in regards to the insurance and 667I?
This issue is an issue of contract.
Mhm.
The county commission, and it was commissioners other than you, but at some point in time, the county commission obtained a rider or an addendum to, I'll call it our insurance policy. It's technically not insurance, it's the risk pool, but an addendum to our policy that said that in the event that a commissioner was a petition for removal was filed against the commissioner, that that the insurance company would cover the defense of that removal up to a certain amount. And how it technically worked was there's a deductible that I believe is $25,000.
Right.
Then the insurance, again, insurance in air quotes, is going to pay half of the remainder of the attorney fees up to $100,000 limit. So this particular issue is an issue of contract. You, the commission, have entered into a contract with our insurance company to do that thing that I just described in case there was a petition for removal filed. So it would be my opinion that the commission has that obligation because you, under the terms of the contract, agreed to pay that amount in the event that there was a removal filed. So when the removal was filed, the insurance folks looked at the facts and circumstances, determined that the policy applied, and they went to pay the attorney fees for the removal portion of the issue, not the criminal portion, but the removal portion pursuant to the terms of the contract. So they did that, and you all agreed in those circumstances. And I say you all, not you personally. I don't think any of you all were on the commission. But you personally, or you as corporately agreed to that provision. So
Okay.
that's where we are.
And
So, so the bill for this was not submitted to us to be paid by Tricia Jackson or Jennifer Kraus. This was a contractual agreement that we had with the insurance company for this rider.
That's right.
Okay.
And can you explain a little bit about 667I?
Here is the distinction. The,
Or can you just explain what 667I is? The state code.
yeah, under the removal provision in the state code, it essentially says that if a removal petition is filed and the person being removed wins that, then they're basically entitled to the county paying for their fees. Now, I would say that that code provision is not contemplating an insurance policy.
Mhm.
Okay, because that's how it works with any person, like a public official like such as yourself. If you get sued for something that you did in your official duties, okay? Like, let's say if it were an ethics complaint or just an action that you took and you got sued for that, and you went out and hired a private counsel, and the private counsel defended you, and you won that case, then it would be, it is the correct thing to do then for the board or commission or county commission to repay those attorney fees, because you have, you've gone out and expended your own money to hire a lawyer, and then you were proven to be correct in what you did. And so then you're paid back. That's a different situation than what we have right here.
Mhm.
Because here we have a contractual obligation that the county commission has agreed to do, that in a circumstance such as a removal, the insurance company would pay for the civil defense of that removal, subject to a $25,000 deductible, and would pay half of the attorney fees for above that, up to 100,000.
Okay.
So this is different than if you were accused of something and went out and hired your own private counsel and then won and got paid back. Because in that case, if you didn't win, you wouldn't get paid back.
Mhm.
But in this case, it's a matter between us and our insurance, although it's really the risk pool.
So basically what you're saying, if like you paraphrase a little bit, if anybody gets sued, that's an elected official, there's a state code, which is 667I, that was, if you pay for your attorney, you win or you settled, dismissed, then you will, your attorney fees will be paid by the county or state or wherever, whoever it is that wherever you're holding public office at.
That is, yeah, but that is a different
Sure.
issue than what we have before us.
Sure. Okay.
How is it different? Can you explain that?
Because you're going out and you're hiring your private counsel with your own money to defend this lawsuit.
If we did not have this insurance in place, and a commissioner went out and hired and paid for an attorney for $43,289.98, and that was their bill, and they lost, is the county responsible for paying their attorney fees if they lost?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, when you read 667. 667J talks about reimbursement. If a judicial, I'm going to read into the record. If a judicial proceeding under this section is dismissed or otherwise result in favor of the challenged officer who has been found to be acting in good faith, the political subdivision for which the officer serves shall be responsible for the court costs and reasonable attorney fees for the officer. So in other words, you get reimbursed if you win and you're acting in good faith.
And just to add, it's actually $61,000 was the total representation. Our portion is 43,000. At 61, you'll see that on the fiscal note. The total cost of representation was over 60,000. Then we are responsible for 25,000 as the deductible, and then half of the remaining balance up to 100,000. So while we only have to pay the invoices for 43, the total cost of representation was 60.
$61,001.07.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I certainly do understand the difference in the contract. I just wanted to make clear and ask the question so it's on the record. I certainly don't have a problem paying something we're contracted to do, and that's something that we're contracted to do. But I do have a problem paying for attorney's fees when we had people that two folks that didn't act in good faith and they lost. Again, I don't have a problem with the paying for something we're contracted to do. That only makes sense. But I feel that we should certainly bill the two former commissioners for that remaining balance as it would fall under a 667I. I'll be happy to move a motion to pay the contractual balance insurance claim. The motion here, pay the $43,289.98 in expenses for the civil representation and the travel of the appointed special prosecutor by Grant County in the criminal prosecution of Tricia Jackson and Jennifer Krause. And this is being paid to the insurance company, correct? And
We need the account number from where it's being paid.
and it's being paid, it's being pulled from the coal severance.
Yes, thank you.
And
Second.
that's a motion. I have one. Thank you.
There's been a motion and a second, discussion.
I want to be perfectly clear. What we're voting on, we're paying the insurance claim.
Yes, sir.
We're not levying any monies to be paid by Kraus and Jackson. Is that correct?
That's the motions on the floor. It's not, yes, sir.
Then I'll second that.
Already did.
I think moved second.
Michael, or repeat.
Other discussion. I have comments and questions, but. let me
I
defer to others
I do
first.
have a point of inquiry. Who initiated the lawsuit to remove the two commissioners?
I would say that the commissioners initiated it by not coming to meetings. But who filed the lawsuit was the prosecutor because that was his statutory.
So the county prosecutor is the person who filed the motion to remove the two county commissioners.
That's
Did
correct.
the
Because
Did the
Due to
county,
accidents
did the
by-
county commission get a chance to talk about it?
the county commission was not functioning because.
That's right, it did not
there
have
was
quorum.
no
That's right.
quorum
So,
Because of the actions of the.
so
county
it then
commission.
technically it's the prosecuting attorney action to remove the two county commissioners without buy-in from the county commission. Is let me ask the obvious question, is the prosecuting attorney's office paying for any of this?
Who are you
Um,
asking?
Anybody?
Anybody?
That's not the contract provision.
Okay.
The
I was just
prosecutor-
wondering, because usually it's the person who initiates
Yeah.
the action would be the person who would be paying for it.
Yes,
So since the county commission did not initiate the action and the prosecuting attorney did, maybe the prosecuting attorney should be asked to make a donation. That's just the way I'm thinking about it. And the reason I'm asking is we have 5 of us sitting up here. None of us has done anything egregious against our terms and conditions of office. But there could always be a situation where there's a fraction or friction developed between the county commissioners. And I just want to know where we're coming from. Do any of us stand to be removed because someone outside of this body has initiated a legal action against us?
And I would have to say that's the statutory duty and of the prosecutor. The statute provides for that, and the prosecutor exercised his statutory ability to do that. So that's
So what I'm asking
that's
is,
how the code section works.
could any of us be removed because the prosecuting attorney wanted us removed? Or is there a recall election?
It would have to be under the conditions of 667. I mean, is that right?
I mean, you would have to, not,
You would have to neglect your duty, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
You're stuck with me. I'm going to attend every damn meeting.
You're not, you're not neglecting your duty, Jack.
Okay.
Okay. I did have other questions too, but I want to give everybody a chance.
I just have a comment.
Yeah, sure.
I think this vote sets an unfortunate precedence that could look or be interpreted that the county commission could set us up from future actions that are negative in protecting ourselves. So that's just something I think that though legally there's cause to pay it, there's a morality issue here, in my opinion. And I think that's something that we should talk about on the
Yeah,
floor.
absolutely. In fact, that was going to be my question. I think we might need an ethics opinion on this, because if the statute says you reimburse when the case is resolved in favor, and the challenged officer has been found to be acting in good faith. I mean, the good faith or bad faith question was central to this case. If to anybody who's actually read this thing, they talk about that extensively. The courts did, and there were several rulings on that. So my question is, I understand you have to pay back a contract. That's a contractual obligation. But if it's something we weren't supposed to do by law, we're forbidden to do by law. I mean, is there a conflict there? I think we need guidance from the ethics committee on particularly, this is section 5 of our contract, public officials liability. I'd like to see an ethics opinion on whether section 5 of our West Virginia communities risk pool complies with 667 on reimbursement. I see a conflict. They don't seem to be lined up. And at the very least, I'm concerned that continuing to hold this contract puts us at risk. The second question I have is whether or not this payment is proper. So who made the motion? I made the motion. Would you accept a friendly amendment to seek an ethics opinion on whether section 5 of the West Virginia communities risk pool complies with 667 subpart J and reimbursement?
I'd be happy to add that to my motion.
I did. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to seek an ethics opinion as well. More discussion? Questions? I think it's time for, yes?
We have a question
I have a
because
question. Do I get to pay my bill?
Can we pay the bill before the ethics, or are you having us hold the payment until after? Yeah, risk pool is very.
Actually, I think we're kind of required to pay the bill.
I think we're required to pay the bill.
And the ethics clause in there should be for future actions.
Right, so we're seeking an ethics opinion on whether section 5 of the West Virginia Communities Risk Pool complies with 667 on reimbursement. I don't think we're.
On future actions,
I mean, that's fine with me.
because the way
I think
I'm
that's how
getting the
ethics committee
discussion
works, right.
is we're going to take care of this invoice now,
Mhm.
but we have an ethics question
Right.
on any type of future actions.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't impede us paying.
Why don't we do this? Can I make a suggestion? Let's go back to the original motion, do one motion and then do your motion.
That's fine with me.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the original motion, and that is to approve the payment of the invoices as presented, and to pay the $43,289.98 from the coal severance.
Second.
All right,
Motion and second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
And your motion.
Can somebody make it for me or do I do it?
I'll do it. Yep.
Chair typically doesn't make motions, but I'm going to do it anyway. I move to seek an ethics opinion on whether section 5 of our contract with the West Virginia Communities Risk Pool complies with West Virginia State Code, section 667 regarding reimbursement as applied to future actions.
Second.
Excellent. I second that.
Motion and second.
Um,
Discussion?
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
to that point, this could also be an ethics question to add to, because we're voting on, as commissioners, we are elected in good faith to serve our constituents. And this could set a precedence that we are above the law. And so I would like to know from the Ethics Commission if we're allowed to make decisions like this that could affect us or benefit us later.
I think the statute is written to prevent that. And I think the way our contract is structured, we've already, it's already been paid, and now we're contractually obligated to pay them back, which does not comply with the law. And I'm concerned about that. So I wholeheartedly agree that this is questionable. And that's why I made the motion to seek an ethics opinion.
Mhm.
Other discussion? Questions? Ready to vote? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous, Lynn?
Mr. Chairman, I have something else.
Yep.
As I said earlier, I certainly do not have a problem paying something that we are contracted to do. However, this is taxpayer money, the $43,289.98. That is taxpayer money. And that's being paid from taxpayers from the neglect duties to people who were elected that did not act in good faith. I'd like to put another motion on the floor, and my motion will be to bill Jennifer Krause and Tricia Jackson the $43,289.98.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
We're not
Okay.
above the law. That's my
Okay.
discussion.
All right. I'm the guy who voted against funding Jefferson County Community Ministries. It's extremely unpleasant for me. I don't like not funding things that are good causes. I wouldn't call this a good cause. I think this was a major problem. I'll be voting in favor of the motion.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, do we need a roll call? I think it was 4-1, right? All right, okay. Did you get that, Lynn? All right.